Okay, hello BMS friends. I thought I'd record just a quick video demonstrating how to install and use an app that I recently built called BMSNav, which you can think of as a sort of companion app to BMS itself. It displays kneeboards, briefings, and various other tools on an iOS device, so you can use your phone or preferably a tablet instead of the in-game kneeboards or instead of printing out a briefing. It's something that I'd wanted for my own use for quite a long time, actually, but it didn't exist. So I wrote it, and I thought I'd share it with the rest of you all by publishing it on the App Store. So the first thing we need to do then, of course, is open up the App Store on your tablet or phone. And you can find it by searching for BMSNav. Okay, it's this guy right here. You may see some different screenshots depending on what actual device you're using. We just download it, and it's free. You don't have to pay anything for it, and no ads. All right, and fire it up. Right, so the first thing that you'll see here is this no timed out screen. BMS Nav requires a server running on the same machine as BMS itself, which we'll get to in just a minute. But for now, you can kind of get an idea of the features here regardless. You have the left board, the briefing, the notepad where you can take notes, and the right kneeboard. Um, but before we can really dive into that, we need to go set up the server. And to do that, the first thing you do is go to the project home page, which is rscdev.net/bmsnav. Come down here to installation. All this stuff is fairly simple to follow along, but as we all know in the BMS community, some people don't really like to read documentation. So here we are. There's also an Android version that works just fine. I built it in parallel with the iOS version, but I haven't released it on the Google Play console as of January 2024 because back in November they actually made it really difficult to do so. Essentially, you need to get 20 people to test your app for a period of 2 weeks before Google will let you publish it to their store, which I haven't done yet. I was thinking of, for Android devices, publishing it to the Amazon App Store instead, which doesn't require such strenuous testing. But it is up on the Apple Store, obviously, for iOS devices. Anyway, to get the server, you want to click this guy right here, the 1.0.2 zip. It might be a later release if you're watching this in the future. Right, okay. Go to your download folder. Gonna move this out of the way for just a moment. Go. Copy it. And I'm going to put it in the same directory where I keep Weapon Delivery Planner and Mission Commander. You can put it wherever you want. When you run the app for the first time, it will automatically locate the BMS directory wherever it is on your hard drive. It doesn't have to be in any specific place relative to BMS itself. And extract it. Okay. Let's go in here. And what you want to click on is this BMS nav server.exe file. But first I want to open up Weapon Delivery Planner and show you how it works in conjunction with the kneeboards there. All right, so we're in KTO, good. Open Weapon Delivery Planner. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this. You don't need to use Weapon Delivery Planner with this. You can just use the stock kneeboards that come with BMS, but I generally use Weapon Delivery Planner with every mission. Okay, so let's open up a simple training mission, one of the tactical engagements. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to go generate the kneeboards here. I'm sure you've all seen this before if you've used Weapon Delivery Planner. Save. Great. Okay, now let's actually go launch the server. So come back here. And I should warn you that the first time you run this, several things might happen. First of all, Windows might not run it. It might protect your PC, in which case you just want to run it anyway, obviously. And it's also going to ask you to allow network access. Um, you want to say yes to both. It needs network access to communicate with the mobile device, obviously. It's not malware, I promise. Although, having said that, some of the antivirus programs will likely uh, flag it as such. In my case, I have AVG, and AVG, what it does is the first time you run this, it'll put it in a sort of sandbox mode and scan it to make sure there's nothing wrong, and eventually it will find that there is nothing wrong, and it will restart the app outside of sandbox mode normally. And then it doesn't do that afterward. Every other time you start the server, it's fine. But I apologize for any inconvenience with regard to antivirus. So here we go, and I'll show you what I mean. Yep, there we go. Windows protected your PC. Thank you very much, Windows. But run anyway. There we go. And I guess AVG didn't flag it this time because I'd already said it's okay, and it's already scanned it. Okay, so this is what the server looks like. You have some console output here, and you can see that it started on port 2676. If you need to change that port, you can come in here and copy this config.default.json file to just config.json and set the port inside there to whatever you like, and the server will pick it up the next time you start the server. I'm just going to leave it on the default port. And let's come over here to the app, and we're going to configure it to talk to the server. This machine right here on which I'm running BMS is on 10.0.0.92. Yours will undoubtedly be different. You just have to figure out what it is. It's not hard. And server port 2676. That's good. So let's go back here. And yes, we want to find and connect to devices on the local network. Allow that and refresh. There we go. All right, kneeboards from Weapon Delivery Planner. You can scroll through these pages left and right as you would expect. You can zoom in as you would expect on an iOS device. This is particularly useful for finding a parking spot at an airbase. You have everything in here that you had set in Weapon Delivery Planner, basically. And you can go over to the right kneeboard. And one neat feature is that if you only have like a small number of pages on a particular kneeboard, your left or right, for example, you can come in here to the settings and configure them independently. So for example, in the right kneeboard, I only care about the first 3 pages, so I'll set that to 3. Right, and then you only need to scroll through the first 3 before you come back around. That's helpful. Okay, so let's actually go into 2D here and get the briefing into BMSNav as well. That's pretty self-explanatory, but just show you quickly. Uh, First of all, you need to go in here into your BMS config, into general, briefing, debriefing, and make sure you have briefing output to file and HTML briefings both selected. Apply that, and then, right, we're on Korea. Okay, so let's launch. Okay, tactical reference. Oh, no, tactical engagement. And let's select the same mission we had in Weapon Delivery Planner, which is this one down here. Obviously, this works with campaigns as well. And all you need to do is come into the briefing.
All right, listen up.
And click print. And you'll see here that the server noticed that the briefing changed and it copied the output of the HTML over to BMSNav. So we come over here to briefing. There we go. So there's your mission overview, roster, elements, threat analysis, steer points, all that stuff. The HTML is kind of ugly, I know, but that's what BMS spits out by default. I might try to make that a little prettier in the future. Um, and let's demonstrate changing the knee boards here. So you're in Weapon Delivery Planner, and let's go to update the knee boards. And let's say on the left knee board, I want to see the map on the first page or whatever, or I want to set a custom picture there. Click Save. And again, over here, you'll see that the server noticed that the knee board's changed and it's regenerating the images. There we go, regenerated. You come into the app and refresh it. And there we go. Now we have the server on the first page. There we go. The screen that I'm using the program that I'm using to cast my iPad here is a little slow to refresh sometimes. Okay, so you also have the notepad over here. This is really useful for writing things down in mission if you can't pause, if you're in a multiplayer mission or something. Um, I use it frequently for writing down target coordinates, for example. You can write down whatever you like. Obviously, my handwriting is terrible. Um, you can erase. The lag you see here is from the screencast thing. It's not laggy in real life. You can use a pen instead of a pencil. You can erase the whole thing. Um, yeah, I find this really handy. I use it all the time. Is that it? Oh, also, if you're over here in the server and you want to switch theaters, you come up here to this drop down, and if you switch to Israel, for example, what it will do is pick up the last knee boards that you used in the Israel theater and reserve them. So I go over here to the board and let's refresh. Yep, there we go. That's the last mission that I had for the Israel theater. I think that's about it. I hope you find this useful. I've certainly got a lot of use out of it myself. That's all, I suppose. I'm easy to get a hold of if you have any questions.